Refreshing wild cherry cola meets smooth cream. The treat you deserve. Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream. Treat yourself.
And now, stop me if you've heard this before on the Toddcast podcast.
If you know anything about the 80s and 90s rock scene, you know it was a wild ride. A different time altogether. No cell phones, no internet, big hair, loud clothes, living life on the edge. Motley Crue practically wrote the book on sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Poison brought full-blown glam to the party. Def Leppard were one of the biggest bands on the planet. Rat had that sleazy edge. And then there was Tesla, formed in 1981, Sacramento, California. Blue-collar, grounded, and gritty. While so many bands leaned into the excess and spectacle, Tesla brought authenticity. And when their lead guitarist, Frank Hannon, was a guest, we talked about all sorts of things, like early touring days with David Lee Roth, the party years, the drugs, the drinking, Aerosmith, disco, self-help books, touring Canada, binge-watching Westerns and Star Trek. We talked about rock autobiographies, seeing Johnny Cash live as a kid, touring post-COVID. A little sports talk, football and hockey. We touched on their Vegas residency at the House of Blues. And stop me if you've heard this before. Frank takes us back to the early days of the band, writing and recording their incredible debut album, Mechanical Resonance, when he was just 19 years old.
Mechanical Resonance came out in 86, but we had been working on it in 85, 84, 83. We had been developing as a band. I turned 20 in October of 86. So I was 19 when I recorded the album, 18, 17, even back to 16 years old, working as a musician locally, and writing those songs and playing the clubs and paying our dues and hammering it out with the guys who were a little bit older than me. Brian Wheat was 18 when I met him. I was 15 when he and I started the band. I had already been playing in bands since I was 12.
No
with
kidding.
my cousin. And I grew up really quick. In my household, it was a wide open South Sacramento. There was parties all the time. So when I discovered guitar and played my first gig at 12 years old at a Moose Lodge in front of 50 people, and they all were rocking out. I was hooked ever since. And then so I just went backwards there in the timeline from the first album. But really quick, I was 12 years old when I played my first professional gig and got paid $20 at a Moose Lodge.
Yeah.
Met Brian Wheat when I was 15. He had already been playing a lot in some older bands that were older than me. I joined forces with him. He and I regrouped and put a new band together, started playing, hammering it out. Every weekend we played at either a party or a club. We met a guy who wanted to be our manager. The manager freaking drove us hard like a drill sergeant, gave us a place to practice, started introducing us to people. Ronnie Montrose being one of them. Dwayne Hitchings was a songwriter, which ultimately led us to going to LA. We would drive to LA. We would drive to Boise. We would take these cars and we would relentlessly work, practice, and gradually change from being a top 40 cover band to being an all original band. And still playing covers here and there and having fun with it, but writing our own songs like Modern Day Cowboy and Changes and Coming at You Live and Rock Me to the Top. We were super driven and very hardworking as a band. And at that time, I was the youngest guy, but I was right in there with the rest of the guys, paying our dues, and wrote those songs and put out the first Tesla album and recorded it when I was 19 years old.
Stop me if you've heard this before on the Toddcast podcast. is powered by the Home Dwell Group. Buying a house? Selling your home? Contact Kyle at homedwell.ca today.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number, 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number, save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone. So we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural Then and Now.
Oh, please, not that music. That music gives me nightmares from my childhood.
Could we get something a little bit lighter, some lighter music here?
Are you a fan of true crime TV shows?
And what about Unsolved Mysteries, the show that jump-started all of our love of true crime?
I'm Ellen Marsh.
And I'm Joey Taranto.
And we host I Think Not, a true crime comedy podcast covering some of the wildest stories from your favorite true crime campy TV shows all the way to Unsolved Mysteries.
Baby, you will laugh, you will cry, you'll think about true crime in a whole new way, and you'll also ask yourself, who gave these people mics?
New episodes of I Think Not are released every Wednesday with bonus episodes out every Thursday on Patreon.
And every Monday, you can listen to our True Crime Rundown, where we go over the top true crime headlines of the week.
So come and join us wherever you listen to your podcasts.